What is up, Terran Williams right here, back on Slice and Dice and Gaming Entertainment, and I'm doing something a little bit different. For this video, we're going to be taking a look back at The Menu, which is my flagship cooking show, of course, and we're going to look at a couple episodes, kind of do the menu retrospective, if you will, because the only way to really appreciate where you are is you look at where you come from. So, I figured why not go back and look at some of my old cooking videos, kind of talk about my inspiration for them, get some behind the scenes things to kind of what I was thinking and things like that. So I figured, why not start this off with the very first episode of The Menu, the flagship show of the YouTube channel, the very first video I uploaded to the YouTube channel, and figure why not, do a little retrospective on it. So we're gonna go, kind of piece by piece for the video. Luckily, thank God, this video isn't that long. The first episode of The Menu is only about 8.5 minutes long, so this video won't be too long. Based off of that, this probably be maybe like 15 minutes, maybe, depending if I maybe 15-16 minutes, depending on how much I talk, how much I want to go through. So yeah, so we're gonna start off with one of my favorite parts of the menu as a whole, which is the intro. And actually, the intro, I'm trying to remember, there was a website I found, and you could actually turn your photos into kind of like a GIF, and that's kind of what the intro is. So these are all my food pictures, these are all the food pictures I had up until this point. So yeah, I just put them together on this website, turned into kind of a GIF slideshow type thing, and that's how we got kind of the video part. And the actual theme song for the menu I actually did create. I forget where I created it, in some free music. I think it was a free Microsoft Music Maker I found. I just created the beat to the menu. I liked it, and so that's been the intro for the menu ever since. Season 3 has a slightly updated version of the intro, which I might tweak a little bit. But yeah, actually, as of this point, the theme song of the menu hasn't really changed. I added little pieces to it for the current edition of it, but for the most part, the intro kind of is what it is. So let's play this out. So, welcome to the first episode of The Menu. Yep, so this is the beginning of the menu. Not just the menu, but also just the beginning of the YouTube channel as a whole. I dropped this video back in November of 2015. So the YouTube channel has been going on for 5 years. It'll be 6 years in 2021, so I'm really excited. It's been a labor of love, a lot of hard work. But let's look at this shot. If you notice, this is still my kitchen. My kitchen hasn't changed. I've been doing the show. But if you notice this camera angle, this is the first and the only time you kind of see me in this angle. And what this is actually I have a little desktop tripod that I've been using for years. That I bought it so I can start doing videos. I needed to figure out a way to kind of get my face. So actually, this is my little mini tripod, and I stacked it on 3 or 4 books, I think. Put it on that, and the camera's on top of that. So that's how you get kind of this chest angle, which is kind of, you see how it's angled kind of upwards towards my face. And look at the very next episode of the menu. It's the more traditional tripod, chest, and up, and I'm actually standing in front of the sink in all the other shots of the menu and all the other intros. This is a little bit different. This is a different angle. You can tell it's angled up because you can actually see the ceiling and the ceiling light and all that stuff. But yeah, this is actually the first and only time I actually use this angle for the intro. And also, you notice my lapel mic. I bought those lapel mics off of Amazon. I still use those lapel mics to this day. So they were like $5 or $6. A very good value for the price and the time. And they hold up extremely well. I'm Terran Williams. This is just going to be a little web series I'm doing. We're going to see how long it goes. We'll see how it works out. So the whole goal is to learn a little bit about what I'm cooking beforehand, which is what I'm going to be calling the origin story. Then we're going to get into the cooking. So sit back, relax. You're going to see me talking for a few minutes. Then we'll get into the cooking. So stay right there and we'll see what's on the menu. Yeah, so that was kind of the idea, and the origin story was always implemented from the very beginning. Something I learned about myself was I've always enjoyed history, and I realized as I got older I really love food history and I really love gaming history, which is why the origin story was a very big part of the menu, because I wanted to just kind of delve into the history of what I was making a little bit. And every episode of the menu has an origin story, except for the maple bourbon wing episode, because I just didn't really feel like doing it. But I should have done the history of fried chicken. I think that would have been fun. And maybe done maybe necessarily bourbon wing sauce, but maybe wing sauce as a whole. I should have actually done an origin story for it. Now that I think about it, I was kind of tired and I didn't really feel like doing it. I should have done an origin story, but that's actually the only episode of the menu that doesn't have an origin story. Everything else does. So we're gonna look at the very first edition of the origin story as a part of the menu. I thought it was just a nice little joke. If you know me, I know I'm very goofy, and I just kind of try to express that in a lot of my videos. So yeah, this just little spoiler warning that I did was just kind of me being funny.
So omelet has had a bunch of spelling changes. According to worldcentral.com, our current spelling omelet doesn't look like its Latin source word lamina, which means a thin plate. The Romans formed lamelle, meaning a small, thin metal plate. Then this word was borrowed into early French as la amelle, literally meaning the blade of a sword or knife. During its history in French, the word changed in spelling to alamelle and amulet, and then to almet. Almet took on the added meaning of beaten eggs fried until set without stirring, probably because of the thin flat shape. Almet became almelet, and finally omelet in modern French. In the 17th century, the word was taken into English both as omelet and in the shorter form omelet.
So, welcome back. Okay, so that was the first edition of Origin Story. It wasn't bad. It's actually kind of fun to do. So I actually pulled that information. I pulled that information from the website. I also, if you notice on all the other editions of Origin Story as well, I always quote my sources. Again, learned that in high school and college. But I always try to quote my sources. So these, like all that information is not from my knowledge. It's just from things that I found. But yeah, so that was like the first one. It actually doesn't sound that bad. And actually, fun fact, I actually write out. So the menu is off the cuff. Like all the parts of me cooking and prepping and talking about ingredients and stuff, all that's off the cuff. There isn't a single script. The only thing that's actually scripted is the origin story. It's the only thing I script. And actually the first couple of episodes, I actually write out my script for the origin story on paper. And there's actually in one of the other episodes, you can actually hear me turning the page. Or maybe that might have been something else. That might have been actually I think it's the origin story. You can hear me turning the page. But after that, I just then after that, I started typing out on my phone. But now for the current renditions of origin story, it's like it's just I type out the information, I put it in like a slideshow, and you kind of get it like that. You get kind of like a little mini PowerPoint with some chill hop music playing in the background. Cause I think the music adds it keeps the energy up. And I started to realize with me talking, it's just the vibe kind of could go down a little bit. Like the energy just doesn't seem to hold. Cause I'm reading like information, I'm reading off of pieces of paper, so it's just kind of like I'm just reading information. So it's kind of dull. So I kind of want to change that. So that's why in the later versions of the origin story, I don't talk. You just kind of get music, get the information. That's kind of that. So let's get into actually the ingredients for the first episode. And the reason why I chose to make an omelet was because it was one of the things I had been doing for a while. Like I make omelets for breakfast a lot, and so I was really comfortable with doing that. So I figured, why not do an omelet first? It's also one of the reasons why the episode is so short, because it's an omelet. It doesn't take that much. You got to learn a little bit about omelets, so now we're going to get into some of the cooking. So omelets are very straightforward. You can add meats, you can add cheeses, you can add different veggies. You can kind of do what you want with them. So for my omelet, I'm just going to do a very straightforward omelet. We have some Marble Jack cheese, courtesy of Dutch Farms. Dutch Farms is really good cheese. It's actually funny, when I actually posted this up to my Twitter, and I actually tagged Dutch Farms in it, and they actually commented and was like, oh, actually, that was a really nice little omelet, which is really cool. So shout out to Dutch Farms once again. They actually did comment on the tweet when I tweeted it out to them. If you haven't used their product, why haven't you? And also, if you notice, the camera's shaking because I'm actually holding the camera in my hand. I'm actually holding it. Then again, this is before I started using my uncle's 36-inch tripod. Like before I actually used a more standard tripod, which to stabilize and everything. So yeah, so I was doing all this. This is before my video lights. This is only me holding the camera with my mini tripod in my hand and the flash from my phone. And also I was using Windows Movie Maker as well, so that's why you get some weird looking stuff too. 2 large eggs. You can get your eggs, of course, from anywhere. But my family, we actually have an egg man. No, not him. So I have 2 eggs for my omelet. I have some onion. And then some of my jokes are premeditated. They're not necessarily scripted out. I usually like something will pop in my brain, and I try to make sure I remember to say it. A lot of times I don't say it, and I'll go back and edit like, damn it, I should have said that. But every now and then I get my jokes. You know, that was one of them. I like the Eggman joke. I'm sorry. I also do like your screw joke in another episode. I think in episode 2 I say that. So, powder, some black pepper, and then garlic salt. I've started using garlic salt this year. It's one of my favorite seasonings now. I personally got this one from Aldi's actually, but you can probably get it from a couple of other places as well. So sit back, you're going to see me mix the ingredients, and we're going to get it all into a skillet. So hold on for 1 second. Okay, so I'm going to crack my 2 eggs first, just like so. Just grab them. Let me move my other egg out the way. So crack 1 egg. 2 eggs. Then I'm gonna throw in my onion powder first. You can go with whatever order you want for your seasoning. Doesn't really matter. One thing my mom always taught me is you can always add a little bit more, but you can never take out. So you can always add a little bit of seasoning at a time. Just so you don't over season your food, because you might not like it, and then because you just can't take anything out of it. So if you add too much salt to something, kind of have to deal with it, because you can't take the salt out after you realize it's too salty. So you can add a little bit at a time, try it and taste it, and then hey, if you don't like it, you can always add a little bit more, but you can never take out. Always keep that in mind. So I've got my seasoning. I'm just going to mix it with my fork really quickly. Make sure I get everything. The garlic salt always smells really good, and the onion powder. And here we go. So that's your eggs after they've been beaten and mixed. So now we're going to put it in the skillet. We're going to let it heat up some. So I've been just letting my skillet heat up. This isn't actually an omelet skillet. An omelet skillet is a little bit thinner, I believe. But it's one of our better skillets, and it also heats up really quickly, so I'm going to have to be careful with my omelet. So I think the skillet is nice and hot. Check the eye. Yeah, I think it's nice and hot, so we're going to just throw the eggs in there. I'm going to crank it up just a little bit. And again, I'm still holding the camera in my hand. So I'm actually cooking this omelet and holding the camera in my hand at the same time. And again, actually, this is the only episode of the menu I actually did a second take for, because the part after I make the omelet and I walk, there's a piece where I did it and the camera's really shaky and I'm moving and things like that, and I actually reshot it. So episode 1 of the menu is also the only time I actually reshoot an episode of the menu. Everything else is usually one go for the most part. So yeah, this is actually the only episode I actually had to reshoot. Spread it around a little bit. I didn't want my eye to be too hot, because if it's too hot, then the eggs will cook extremely fast. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to fade into the back, grab my spatula, and I'm going to come forward again. Yeah, see, that's when I kind of did that. And also, I was kind of like laughing and joking doing that, but I should, like, this is also before, this is like, I learned a lot, because actually after this I realized, okay, I should have something set up closer to the stove, which what I usually have, like a TV tray by the stove usually, but now what I actually use, I use an old like there's an old piece of wood we have on our back porch, and I use that. It's like an old, I think it's from a desk or something, but I put that on the stove. I use that as kind of like my assistant table, if you will, so I don't have to keep reaching everywhere for, you know, everything. And again, this is also the very first episode I did, so there's a lot of little mistakes I did improve on as time went on. And just gonna let it cook some. I'm actually surprised it's not as hot as it is, because usually this skillet cranks up extremely high. Like, it's ridiculous how fast this thing can cook. But it's cooking. Oh shit. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna move. So I'm gonna rotate the skillet a little bit. And also, before I forget, I'm going to throw. I legit almost forgot to put the cheese in the omelet too. I think I might have said that, but I legit almost forgot to put the cheese in the omelet. Cheese into my omelet. And sprinkle a little bit of cheese. It smells really good. And sprinkle a little bit more cheese. Again, if you notice, the camera's kind of leaning because, again, I'm holding it in my hand. I'm trying to keep it as much on the skillet with the omelet as much as possible, but I'm turning to put the cheese. Like, there was a lot going on. Even though this is, like, you could tell the improvements that I made throughout the series since then, like, since this episode, but there's so many things I did, you know, and it was like, this was probably one of the harder episodes because I didn't know what I was doing, and I was adjusting the things on the fly and figuring, and I was doing a lot of problem solving on the fly. And then, of course, after I watched it and after I did it, I have some things straightened out, a little more streamlined now. But this is the very first episode. I have lights. I think if you actually look at the end, I only used a lamp that I had. I took the lamp shade off, and that was my light. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff. I'm also doing this with one hand because I'm actually holding the camera because, you know, I don't have a cameraman right now. Yep, and I even say it right there. I'm actually holding the camera with one hand. So I'm making this omelet and holding the camera with one hand. I mean, come on. This is dope. Like, come on. I think that, and just thinking about that just as a whole, like, that's pretty dope. My first one, no real help. No one else helping me, and I kind of was able to pull this off. So I'm a one-man show right now. So, yeah. So there's probably going to be some weird camera angles. And the camera might just flip upside down. And I'm still a one-man show. Disclaimer, spoiler alert. So I'm going to check it. I'm going to go around it really quickly. I'm going to spin it. Just so I can try and get it evenly cooked. You see how it's still a little watery? Or a little eggy? It means that these eggs aren't cooking. So I'm probably going to bump the heat up just a little bit. Hopefully not too much because I don't want my omelets to burn too much. But that actually might be good. So I'm pretty sure I'm holding the camera with my left hand too. So, and I'm right-handed. So again, just appreciating all the little things I had to do because, you know, I wanted to make this happen. So, hey, like I say, if you want to do something, you'll figure out a way to get it together. You'll find a way. And I take my spatula, go around it like so, and I'm gonna flip. Bam. That actually came out a lot better than I was expecting it to. So, I'm going to take it, throw it on my plate. Going to cut off my skillet because, you know, fire is a real thing. And I'm going to take it over here. And there we have it. So this is just a straightforward cheese omelet. And there we have it. So thank you all for watching the first episode of The Menu. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Tell me what you thought. Please, I'll appreciate as much criticism, good or bad, just let me know. And we'll see y'all next time. Have a good one. Yep, so that is the very first episode of The Menu. Even though at the end I don't have the outro because I didn't make the outro till 2017, I think is when I got the outro made. So yeah, that's the very first episode of The Menu. Very interesting to go back and see it. Yeah, you can tell like I was legit holding the camera. Cause if you notice now, a lot of things are a little bit more cleaner. Like I was doing a lot of running shots, you know, where I just kind of or continual shots, where I was just recording and I'm just moving, like I'm moving the plate and I'm doing this and I'm doing that and I'm moving the camera with it. And now it's a lot more cuts where I'll stop recording here. Stop recording here, stop recording here, stop recording here, stop recording here, and I piece it all together, which I realized was a lot easier to do. And I realized because I know some of my other camera apps, they would stop running. They would actually stop recording, so I couldn't do continuous runs. And it was like eating more battery and time and all this stuff. And it was a lot harder to do because you never know what might happen in the shot. So I started to do, now I do more segments where I record in segments. I do the intro, stop, I prep, record prep, stop, stop cooking, start cooking, after cooking's done, stop, and I do it like that, and I just put it all together. So yeah, this is the very first episode of the menu. It's kind of interesting rewatching it and just remembering like all of that. And yeah, you can see like I only had one light source, which was that one lamp on the table. I don't know what else was on the table. Like I became a lot cleaner. Like a lot of my shots now are a lot cleaner. And yeah, but again, this came from a learning experience. This was I wanted to do it to see if I could do it to get it done. Excuse me. And I did, where I now have 2 full seasons of the menu done, working on the third one. So it's very humbling to go back and look, and then also just kind of remembering kind of why I started what I do when I'm doing. And that's it's always nice to go back to just remember this is why you got into it, because I wanted to do it. I wanted to make a cooking show. I did it. I've done it, and I've just been constantly improving on it, getting new tools and new equipment and learning new skills. And so yeah, it's been fun. It's also funny seeing the outro without the current Digital Chef outro. It's kind of interesting, but again, you gotta start somewhere. But thank you for checking out this episode of the Menu Retrospective. I greatly appreciate it. Take a little trip down memory lane with me. I know I do want to do one more for sure, and I've got to do, and it's gonna be episode 10 of season 1 of the menu, because episode 10 was really special for me. It's kind of emotional, and I'll talk about that when I do that one. I think that's the next one I'll do. But always and forever, Slicing, Dicing Gaming. It's not just a model, it's a lifestyle. Thank you so much for supporting me on this YouTube journey ride. I know like there aren't as many food videos as they were at first. I'm getting back to that, I promise. I haven't been in front of a camera in almost a year, which is really interesting for me. But yeah, I want to gotta get back into season 3 of the menu. Gotta get this cranked out. I think the fans have wanted, you guys, the fans, you guys have been asking for it. You gotta give the people what they need. So I gotta make this happen for you guys. And yeah, it's been a labor of love for the past, 5 years, and we're gonna keep going. So again, I'm Taryn Williams. You can find me on Instagram. I have links to all my social media in the description, but I'm on Instagram, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Facebook. There's also a Facebook page for the YouTube for the Digital Chef brand. There is the website www.slicingdicinggaming.com. There's also a Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Slicing Dicing Gaming ENT, which is the counter of Slicing Dicing Gaming Entertainment here on YouTube. There's the Order Up podcast, which is on Anchor. Go check that out. Also, I have merch on the website. You can find the Teespring store, Digital Chef store, I think it's the name of the Teespring store. But there's links to that on the website as well. But thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you so much for supporting. Thank you so much for rocking.